Hello, welcome to the Sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Open Series in New Jersey. I'm Nick Miller alongside Stefan Sachs. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good.
Now, we've had you on camera last round, and everyone's like, we need to see this deck, in its full light. You mulliganed a little bit in game one.
It was a little rough.
Game two was very quick, but there's a lot going on here. We want to talk about mono white soldiers. Some people call it soldier stompy. We've seen similar decks to the mono red decks with a bunch of prison style effects, or sea stompy. Here you got soldier stompy, mono white soldiers. What makes a man play soldiers in a format where you can do the broken things Legacy lets you do?
Just because it gives me all the things to just have fun and do other similar broken things. Not all the time you get to cast 6 mana spells for free just because you wanted to attack that turn.
Right. You're talking, of course, Captain of the Watch, 6 mana creature. Of course, you get to play it a little cheaper, sometimes free, but it fits in line with the rest of the deck that is a soldier deck. But you also have this prison style effect, which we'll mention first because this is kind of where you can catch some people off guard.
Right.
You've got Suppression Field. We've seen that do a lot of work in Modern. Chalice of the Void, of course, Legacy all over the place. And then Thalia, all of which you can play turn one with a land and a Chrome Mox.
Yeah.
Talk about each one of these pieces and how they shut down what your opponent's trying to do.
The Suppression Field is great because it just stops the fetch lands from being able to do anything. If the opponent keeps a hand that they expect to be good with 2 fetches and then they just can't cast anything anymore, it basically blocks the game out from that turn on. You said Chalice against all the 1 mana effects, Sword, Brainstorm, Lightning Bolt is ridiculous. And same with Thalia, just being able, because all my cards do cost a little bit more than most of Legacy, being able to play Thalia on 1 slows everyone else down to my pace at worst.
Right, the deck doesn't have any 1-drops, so you're trying to start your curve on 2. And you've got Ancient Tomb as well as Chrome Mox to kind of accelerate, let you do that kind of stuff, play your more expensive cards earlier on.
Right.
Start off with the prison effect, and then the soldiers just keep coming. We're going to go down the line because there's a lot of them, a lot of people having to read these cards. So you've got the Ballyrush Banneret, which is just a 2/1, but lets you play cheaper soldiers.
Right.
And then you kind of flow into the real game changers. Preeminent Captain. Talk about how good this card is.
It's the best card in the deck just because being able to put something into play tapped and attacking, especially when I can play them on turn 2 a lot of the times, and be able to sneak in one of the big hitters it's very hard to beat from anyone, even if they have a good start.
So what's the ideal creature you get to put into play with that?
Ideally, it's the Captain of the Watch, just because it's a Lord, gets 3 dudes already, comes in on their own, and is really hard to stop. Just to put 4 creatures in for nothing, basically.
Right. You got another Lord in the fact of Field Marshal, which gives +1/+1 and first strike, but you also have another semi-Lord in the Daru War Chief, which also has like the Banneret ability as well, making your creatures cheaper too.
Yeah, so it's weird. I like the War Chief, just the +1/+2, puts like all my stuff basically out of range of any like single kill spells, a lot of that kind of stuff, makes everything that much harder to kill, and if I get in a ground war with like Tarmogoyf or something like that, that's the kind of thing that can put me over the top and let me push through still.
Right, a thing Patrick Sullivan was talking about when he watched your match is when it comes to just creatures running into each other, your deck's eventually going to have the better creatures with all the Lords, all the first strikes, and that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, the Field Marshal, a lot of people like, first strike's not a keyword a lot of people look at in Legacy, and it comes up a few times as being awesome.
Right, of course, first strike already built in on Thalia, but being able to give it to your team pretty good too. Now here's the nice one. The Enlistment Officer, we've seen this, Goblin Ringleader type style, but this lets you refuel with more soldiers.
Yeah. Deck has 30 creatures in it, so I usually hit 3 off of him pretty often, so just being able to refuel, especially after a card like Terminus or something like that, is unbelievable.
Is Terminus style decks kind of the worst thing for this deck that can just sweep you, or what are you looking to play against and what are you looking to dodge?
I'm actually looking to dodge the other stuff that's trying to race, like Burn's a tough match. The Terminus stuff isn't too bad because I play so many creatures. Like I can usually rebuild pretty quickly, especially if I know I'm playing against Terminus. I keep only 2 or 3 out and hold a few back in case I do get hit by a Terminus and come back again. So and against, like, with all the prison effects, the combo decks I do pretty well against, especially after sideboard.
Yeah, you have a bunch in the sideboard along with your Thalia in the main deck and Chalice, which does some serious work against the combo decks. And also, you got to mention Caverner Souls here. doing a lot of work as well makes all the cards like dazes and that kind of stuff just irrelevant when you're just flooding the board with creatures.
That's another card that really helps out against the Miracles match, kind of, because they play a lot of counter spells, and being able to just put everything out, especially like Athalia, really hurts them. Then they can't stop it.
Last soldier, we've got the elephant type here as well. You've got human soldiers, Kithkin soldiers, elephant soldiers coming in. Lockstone Gatekeeper kind of has that tap down effect as well that just slows down, makes him not able to block as well, or also taxes the mana.
Right. He's better like late when someone's trying to catch up. It just stops them from being able to really try and catch up if I already have any board state.
Okay. The main deck's pretty sleek. You got a bunch of 4-ofs. You only got a 2-of here in the Gatekeeper. Sideboard just the same. You know what you want to do, and you're doing it well. You got 3 Revokers, 4 Oblivion Ring, 4 Throne of Amethyst, 4 Rest in Peace. Shutting down graveyards, unfair combo decks. Oblivion Ring's just like a catch-all.
Yep. So Oblivion Ring's like a lot of like Tarmogoyf, that kind of stuff. If I run into a Tassiger, something that's hard for me to deal with if it's bigger than what I have so far. And just like, all right, we're just going to move that off to the side and ignore that that's there.
Right, you don't get to play Swords and Plowshares in your Chalice deck, so you need some sort of removal spell.
Exactly.
Okay, and then lastly, Revoker, just kind of name in whatever you need to name.
Yeah, something that I didn't think of before is usually pretty good to just like, oh, that's right, I'll name that, and work out well. It gets like Sneak Attack, that kind of stuff, so.
Sneak Attack, Planeswalkers, things like that, that you might not be accounting for.
Yep.
Well, you're 3-1 so far. The deck is awesome. Everyone wants to see something new. You're beaten down. Always a big fan of that. So.
Thank you.
All right. Any ideas or suggestions going forward with the deck?
I don't know. It's tough. It's always trying to find we're trying to brainstorm like new soldiers to put in the deck, kind of stuff. Like the weakest one in there probably is the Loxodon Gatekeeper. Toying the idea of like replacing him with like a Brimaz or something like that. Something that's a little more aggressive and push out more damage.
Oh, we'll have to look through Gatherer, kind of find some more soldiers.
Yeah.
All right, well, the deck's great. Steven, thanks for joining me here in the sideboard.
Thank you, Nick.
Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all week long for the action here in New Jersey.